Hello and welcome to John and James Live. My name's John Hastings with my co-host, Mr. James Silo, and special guest today, Garry Robey from SBP Events. And you are the creator of the Greenhouse Collective as well, which is education and awareness around toxicity in foods, in beauty, and the whole maybe meat-free industry as well, and just everything about this food industry and things that we wear, things that we do that could potentially be harming us. Is that right, Garry?
Yeah, totally. Thanks for the great introduction, James. John, really great to see you. It's been an epic journey the last few months for me. Just a really quick bit of a background. So we own a consultancy company predominantly, which helps brands range their products into retail and distributors all over the world. And over the years, we built this amazing black book of contacts, retailers, distributors, and partners. And about 2 months ago, I met just randomly a very good friend of mine in an airport in Dublin, and I said to him, "Oh, how are you doing?" He said, "Oh yeah, I'm good. I'm 70 years old. I'm going to retire. I'm selling the business." I was like, "Oh, that's amazing. I'm so pleased for you. That's really good." Never thought anything off of it. We went our own ways, and that was it. In January, I needed a favor. One of my brands wanted to go to an event, so I called him up and I said, "Oh, David, have you sold the business yet?" And he said, "Oh, Garry, can't find anybody. Everybody wants to pull the business apart. They don't want to keep the core of what's going on with the business and look after our existing clients," which I'll come back to in a minute. Really important. And he said, "Oh, do you want to buy it?" And I was like, "No." I'm like, this is no thanks. No, this is not what I do. It's not part of our project and plan this year. But so anyway, it sort of planted a seed in my brain, and I went home and I spoke to my wife and our little team that we have. And what's amazing is when we help brands, what they always need content. They always need something to talk about. And we always ask them, please give us content. Give us your golden arrows. What have you been doing? Where have you been sampling? How much have you been selling? Your traffic on your website, as much as we can, to go to all the big retailers and distributors and say, "Hey, look, we've got this brand. We're not just talking emotionally, but we've got some really solid facts to talk about." And when we looked at this business, this events company, we actually saw some really amazing opportunity to create amazing content. And when we looked at then the commercial side, it's amazing. It's got a 98% client retention rate. It's been going 35 years. Now, for a consumer show-based business, 98% client retention rate is literally unheard of. I mean, this is like, yeah, it's like living the dream. It's 150 shows, and it's the largest purchaser of consumer show space in the UK. So when you put all those factors together, it was like, okay, well, this is sort of a no-brainer. It's something that we need to do. And then we sat down and we started to figure out what else can we do. And with our consultancy business, we predominantly look after vegan, vegetarian, plastic-free, conscious ingredient brands. And that's sort of our lifestyle as well. And we basically came up with, in the beginning, it's quite funny, we just said, we'll reach out to our brands and they can have a stand at our shows, and we will make it look nice. We'll do an activation and it'll be great. And then my wife said to me one night, this is a really great idea. It's going to work. But what happens if you have, for example, a vegan sausage brand next to a pulled pork stand? And I was like, oh yeah, that's not going to look good.
Really work, does it?
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't work in any way whatsoever. So we started spitballing some ideas over a few days, and we hadn't purchased the business at that time. We hadn't signed any contracts. And then we came up with this concept of the Greenhouse Collective. And what it became is a safe space, a safe area within our consumer shows that we do for like-minded brands to sample, sell, and activate. And we have a couple of options. We have like a modular option where it's all in one area, and then we have an area where we can design and build their stands for them as well. So if they want to do a really cool activation, we can then build that area out. And all of a sudden, it turned into something really cool. Not only do we have a really great sustainable business already, but actually we can build out something on our own journey as well. And as I said, my family we've been vegetarian for 8 years. My wife's been vegetarian for 10 years. I've got 3 kids, an 8-year-old, an 8-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 2-year-old, all vegetarian. we're more conscious ingredient than anything. And I think this is really something that I'd like to touch on in this show as well. It's quite important for us. Is all vegan and vegetarian food is not healthy. Some of it's ultra processed, and there's a lot of additives and stuff that they have. That's fine. But actually, what's really important is just to look at what's in those ingredients and what you're putting in your body. And it might be only very, very small amounts, but actually, if you're eating it all the time, those small amounts do add up. And I think really that's the message that we're trying to put out there with the Greenhouse Collective, is that number one, there is swaps, there is easy swaps that you can make. We're not preaching, we're not hard selling. It's just, this is an option for you. Everybody's body's different. You do what you want to do. I would, this is very controversial, but I would actually sit next to someone that eats meat. No problem at all. I'm friends with people that eat meat. I don't have an issue with it. But because everybody's body's different, everybody has a different way of life, and that needs to be very well respected. It really does.
You just don't speak to them though, right?
Exactly. And then every time we do, we're just like, no. Yeah, get away from me. No. Like we what we do with our bodies is we just facilitate what we need. So we have our own chicken. We're very blessed. We have our own chickens in our garden, and we eat their eggs because we know what we feed them. We know how they're treated. We are in control of that destination of that product, right? Yeah. So that's something that we're very conscious of, and it's really going back to the Greenhouse Collective. It's really like making sure that these brands have two really great propositions. They have huge volume, high volume consumer shows, and then they have consumers that are not educated. Because there is branded vegan and vegetarian shows all over the world, and they're fantastic, right? But the consumer base for them are predominantly vegan or vegetarian. They're going to look for other swaps or new brands, or they're pre-educated. They're already educated in this ecosystem. So what our proposition to these brands is that we're actually creating areas where I would say a huge percentage is uneducated. So we're creating new communities for the brands, creating ways for them to get their traffic to their stores that are selling in, creating content for new education and new stores and new listings and so on and so forth. So it's been a mental journey, and I was talking to John before, and it's just like we've owned the company for 7 weeks, and we're already scaling so fast. Like this week, we're interviewing 4 or 5 people for account managements. We're gonna have them locally in Spain, and then we've got our own team in the UK that run the UK operation as well. Yeah. We're very blessed. David, the original owner of the company, is actually going to stay on for 2 years as well to help us run the business in the UK for 2 years. Yes, that really helps us build and create the new side of the business, whilst he still maintains what the ethos of the business is, what it looks like now. And then also we have an amazing opportunity with the existing brands that we have. So the existing brands that we have that work with us use our shows to survive. And this is really beautiful. Like, we provide them a service where they earn a living out of this. This is how they feed their families. And all those brands want more. They want more shows, more countries. They want to expand to the EU. They want, other opportunities. And this has also opened quite a bit of a floodgate, which, if you look at it as a new business owner, whether it was the right thing to do or not, I'm not sure. I'll tell you in about 6 months. But we've opened other opportunities like airports, music festivals. We're working with, and unfortunately right now I can't mention them, but working with an incredible technology company. We've just purchased a really amazing 10-meter articulated stage lorry, ex Coca-Cola. So that was like, the cherry on the top as well, which is amazing. Yeah. And there's it's a massive fold-out stage. It all levels of hydraulics, air conditioning on the inside. It's a beautiful piece of kit. And we're utilizing this new technology within this incredible truck, which is going to be utilized at shows for advertisement. So even though we have like this amazing ecosystem of space of what we're trying to work with and spread as well, we really are very open to new and exciting opportunities, because that's commercially, we just want to do that. We want to be like at the forefront of all that as well. So that's downloaded. Yes, that's our sort of journey.
Lots going on, Gary.
A little bit going on.
Yeah. If we take you back, Gary, to the young Gary, where did you grow up? What was it like? What was your whole childhood stuff? If we go in that direction, who are you?
So I come from a really simple upbringing. My mum and dad had a market trader business, and before that, they actually had quite a large amusement business. So in Battersea in England, there was the Battersea Park Pleasure Grounds, or Pleasure Park, and they actually had 150 midway games, funfair games. With two arcade machines, so one inside and one outside. So they were the largest operator of this within the theme park. They ran that for 20 or 30 years, passed down from my father's father as well, and then he expanded it out. Unfortunately, the park shut down for numerous reasons, so then they had to look for other opportunities. And my father was a great entrepreneur as well, really, very business focused. He had a shoe shop. We did, in those days, markets were very, very good because there was no internet. And in all honesty, in a market, you could tell any story. There was no way to Google the facts or look at, is this true what the guy's saying or whatever. It was taken as that's the fact, that's what they say, that's the truth. So markets were a very, very good source of income. And he had, 10 or 15 market stands out all at one time and stuff. And God knows
in Battersea, was that?
All over the country, all over the UK.
Oh,
yeah.
Did you grow up in Battersea?
No, so I grew up in Kingston upon Thames.
Oh, right.
We went. So when I was born, the arcade amusement business was finished, and I was brought up in the markets, and I was brought up with the shops that my father had. And we also had a business in Margate. They used to have a pier in Margate as well, so we used to have some games and various confectionery and stuff. So I was brought up in this very entrepreneurial family. It was very focused on business, and it was 6 months of the year hard graft. 6 months of the year we didn't really work. My dad had a small wholesale business, and 6 months of the year was very hard. And we'd be up at 5 o'clock in the morning most weekends and go to the shows. But I didn't know anything else. This was my life, and I had such an amazing, beautiful training. But what I did miss is I missed the family side. The family ethos and the importance of family. So my structure of way I try and run my business is we always put my family first. What gets me up in the morning is not money. We need money, of course. We have to. I have a family to provide for, and it's really important. But what actually wakes me up is the journey. Is the end result of actually getting that new brand on board, or that buzz of actually launching them and making them successful, and that end goal. And also is I use money to buy time, and that's all I use money for. I don't care about any other clothes or cars, or it doesn't interest me in any way whatsoever. What interests me is just having time with my family, and that's what I use money for, is just to buy time. And if we can have, and the way we've done that is we've set ourselves in Spain, in Malaga, or near Malaga. We're 45 minutes from the airport. I do have to travel. It's part of what we do. That's the price I do pay. But we have a home office. All our team work remotely. And what that's given us is the freedom to travel, to be with the family. I'm very blessed. I can take my kids to school in the morning. I come home and then I do 5-6 hours work. I get up so most mornings I'll probably be up at 5 or 6, and then I'll do some work before the kids get up. I have a bit of a meditation routine and stretching and stuff like that. I've been a bit lax on the meditation recently because I've had a lot going on, but and then in the evenings I sit down with my wife and we try and debrief, and then I try and get an hour done in the evenings as well. So that's what I work for. I strive and work for that commitment to my family. And that's really me. That's where I've come from, really basic, simple business. And that's what I try and do now. I keep it simple. We provide a service. We don't make too many guarantees because you can't in life. If we have a show and it rains every day, I can't control that. But we provide a really good service, best locations, best positions, best value. And it's just, activations that are, I explain my activations in this way, and it's become I'm very focused on language. I like language very much, and every time we work with a brand or a specific retailer, I try and harness the language that they try and use. So if we're in the beauty industry, I try and harness the beauty language, or vitamin industry, I try and harness the vitamin language. And with the event side, what we try and do is, if you can imagine, you go to a big theme park in America and you go to a roller coaster. You actually go on a journey before you get to the roller coaster. You go through this amazing themed area, and they'll tell you this whole amazing story about the theming Iron Man or whatever it might be. You then go on the roller coaster, you get this massive big buzz, you're really high on adrenaline. You then walk through a smaller themed area, and then you get to the gift shop, right? So in the gift shop, you're on a high, you're buzzing, you're happy, you've done this amazing roller coaster. So you're going to buy a photo, aren't you? You're going to buy something from the gift shop. You're going to buy merchandise. Your kids are pulling at all your clothes. Come on, Dad, buy me this, you know, all of that sort of precious stuff. And that's sort of what we try and do differently with our activations. We have companies emailing us every day saying, Gary, can you do 4 staff outside a train station? And I say, no, it's not what we do. There's no ROI. There's no 360. Consumers are very unloyal, very, very unloyal. And if you just pass them a sample outside a train station, thank you, I appreciate that. It's free. It's in their mind, it's free. They drink it, they like it, they throw it in the bin, they go to work, or they do what they do, they get on with their day. So what we try and do is we try and do that theme park, that roller coaster. So 3 very important things: educate, sample, sell. So what we try and do is we pre-educate on the brand, we take them on a journey, then we sample, because we then make them happy, look after them because they're listening to us. Then we try and educate again a little bit more. And then once they're finished with that education, they've got their free sample, then we take them to the gift shop or the shop, and we then try and sell them the product at a discounted price or a special show offer, where on that journey, they've got NFC technology, QR codes to drive them to retailers, to explain about the brand and the product. So we're trying to encompass a bit of technology in there as well, whilst also taking them focused on that brand journey. So yeah, sorry, I diversified totally there. I'm so sorry. The original question was about me, and I sort of like went off again on the
back to business.
Well, I want to go back actually, because interesting. We had a guest on it was either last week or the week before, David Green, and his origins were in the market as well. So he was a market trader. Yeah. And he was saying that, you know, everything that he does today is based off that experience back then, the way he conducts business, how he interacts with people. And he's always very conscious of his roots. So just listening to how you were talking there, it just seems like, you know, that's a great grounding, fantastic education in terms of having to deal with the general public, you know, how people buy, how they interact with the product. And it's having that banter, it's having that ability to be able to talk to them, find out what they want, and then give them what they need.
100%. And, you know, I was 5 years old when I first sold my first product, you know, and when you're on a market, you put on what's called a money pocket. It's like a bum bag, but it has different areas where you put the notes and the change and the coins and da-da-da. So 5 years old, my dad puts this money pocket on me, and he goes, look, you've watched us loads, go and do it. So anyway, so I go, you know, at that age, no fear. My kids, they've got no fear. They, you know, it's unbelievable. You know, no fear, no understanding of anything. Why, you know, someone would maybe confront you or ask you silly questions or whatever. Anyway, so I've done my little thing, and I've got this big crowd of people around me, and all of a sudden they've started laughing at me, and honestly, I remember it vividly. Like literally, I'm there now, and it really upset me. I started obviously crying as well, and I turned around to my dad and I said, Dad, why are they? I don't understand. Why are they laughing at me? It's not fair. You know, I'm doing what I'm doing. I've copied everything that you've taught me. You know, I made a couple of sales. I don't get it. Why are they laughing at me? And he said, you're 5 years old. They're not used to seeing this. Any children at this age or this, you know, height, or, you know, do such an amazing job. They're not laughing at you. But the way he sort of framed it was that, like, there's a nervous energy, a nervous laugh. You know, how is this?
It's a novelty. It's a novelty, isn't it?
You know, doing this system. How is he selling? How is he doing this? And, you know, and from then on, it really gave me this huge amount of confidence. And you are right, you know, how to interact with people. That you know, back in those days, everything was done on a handshake and word. You know, I give you my word. At the end of the day, I'll pay my site fee. I give you my word. At the end of this month, we'll pay you for the stock. We kept to that word, and it's absolutely ingrained in me. And to a point where brands come to me and say, Gary, what's the ROI of your shows? And I say, there isn't. I don't give you any. I'm not going to, because if I did, I'd be lying to you. But what we do is we provide an incredible service with an incredible activation, with everything you need to make it happen. And then we just have to make it happen. You know, we have to get the right staff and the training and everything else, you know, and that's how it's forward. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? The sweet spot is enabling them to see the vision, because I've worked in businesses that do exhibitions as well. And exactly that conversation I've had, it's like, well, how we guaranteed then if we buy a stand for 750 quid, 800 quid, that we're going to get a return on our investment. It's like, well, I can't guarantee you that. And another thing is that if they turn up and they just expect for them to get a return on that investment without putting in any effort or interacting, or they're just stood there behind their exhibition stand and not even almost wanting people to stop and talk to them, or they've sent somebody there, have just been kind of paid. Maybe they didn't even work for the business and they've just been paid to be there to hand out business cards. Yes. It's understanding the nature of these things, that you have to be present. You've got to be your shop front at that moment in time. You've got to be proactive, go out and talk to people. Absolutely. And it's not by sort of like by proxy that by going to these exhibitions that you're going to succeed. You've got to do the work. So how do you best show them or tell them that, or give them a vision of that particular element without sort of, upsetting them or them thinking, well, I don't want to be part of this, but how do you sort of give them that vision of the future?
Yeah, I love that. And it's honestly conversations that we have pretty much daily. And I think going back to my childhood, so when I was like 18, 19, 20, I actually started my own consumer show business. And we would take stands, we would buy space at shows all over the country. We did a bit of Europe as well. We'd bring our own products in from all over the world and we would sell them. And these were mostly demonstratable products, kitchen gadgets, and we had like a chamois cloth, that would wipe up a huge amount of water. We had these amazing vegetable choppers and, you name it, we sold it. And, our staff were on commission only and they used to earn huge amounts of money. But if they were there on their phone, 11 o'clock in the morning on their phone, I'd be like, hang on, there's people about, oh no, nothing happens till 1 o'clock. No, you start now, because if you demonstrate and they don't buy now, they might have it in their brain and come back later and buy it later on. Everybody's here to invest their money. Everybody. So what I'm trying that whole ethos, what you just said there, has always been ingrained in me. And I think when we have these conversations with the brand, I am very blessed right now because the company we have has this huge retention rate. They can go to any one of our shows and watch any one of our stands take money. Every stand takes money at our events. Every stand has to earn money at our events to make it work. I mean, it's just huge. I mean, it's a huge golden arrow, right? Because every single one does it. Every single one. And, some of our customers will invest upwards of £10,000, £15,000 a show. They will. And they'll still make a profit. Because they'll have huge stands and logistics costs, and some stands are 750, 800, 1,000. And this is the other thing I always get into, and it's really quite frustrating as well. Is give me a budget. Okay, well, hang on a minute. Just give me a rough budget. No, I think I know people, but do you know what? It's part of the ethos of what we do. No, I'm sorry, I can't do that. Give me a brief. How much size are we looking at? What activation do we need? Do you need us to have your staff? Do we need to do storage for you? Do we need to set the stand up? Do you have your own stand? Is it just space only? Oh well, before we get into that, I just need a rough cost. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm sorry, because that's lying, and I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to do it, because the spectrum is literally from £500 to infinite. You can invest any amount of money in these shows, and it's so important for us. And we do get the brands over the edge in the end. We do. We make them understand. Of course we do, because that's our job. We do make them understand that not necessarily a fixed budget, but we need to understand, what does this activation look like? And they'll say, okay, well, this is our brand. You come up with a plan, and we'll do that, and we'll give them an idea, and we'll look at some sort of space area, and we'll try and keep it as small as possible to keep the budgets tight, to make it work. Because if it doesn't work, we don't look good either, right? So we have to try and make it work for them. And so that's how we do it, really. That's how we try and get them over the edge. And it's beautiful, because they can literally go to any one of our shows and just see it happen in front of their eyes.
Where are the shows, Gary? Are they in Spain or are they in England?
No, all over the UK. So our short-term plan is just to concentrate on our consumer shows in the UK. We're expanding, like I said, out to airports and festivals as well, which is a really exciting piece for us. We have contacts and opportunities to do pop-ups in high streets and really cool areas. We are in talks with a brand right now. I can't mention the name, I'm sorry, but we're looking at doing like pop-ups on beaches all over the UK, which is so cool for us. So all those outside activations we can do, we just set up 18 shops for one of our clients for the Christmas period to do a Christmas promotion. So we have a really large spectrum of what we can do. It doesn't have to be just consumer events. And then obviously we have an appetite, of course, to expand to Spain and Europe and France. And, that's definitely on our list. Ireland is something I've been working on for the last couple of weeks as well. I've been out to Ireland a few times. You might have seen my LinkedIn posts. And we're working with some really cool shows out there. Small country, yes, but the shows and the people there, because it's a small country, they don't have many shows. They are activated customers, and they're really there to invest their money and look for new products and new things. So it's really exciting. It's a really exciting country. Really, really exciting.
How long have you been in Spain, Garry?
I've lived here for eight years.
8 years now. Wow.
Yeah.
Why did you choose to leave the UK? What was you thinking?
So I met my wife about 16, 17 years ago. And when we decided to be serious, she said to me, I don't want to bring my kids up in the UK. She's from South Africa, outdoor lifestyle, has the weather, live by the beach. And I said, look, I've got no problem with that. As long as I'm close to an airport. At that time, I had a consumer show business, and we also we had products on TV and stuff. So I said, as long as I'm not close to an airport and I can get around, we can live anywhere in the world. Really we can. Yeah. So we looked at many places, and we actually really fell in love with Mexico. Like, we went out there 5 or 6 times, looked for houses, looked at the schools, everything. And the biggest problem we had, and the kickback that we had, and it hit us every time, wherever we would live out there, we had to live in a compound, gated community, guys with guns. And it's such a shame, and it's just not how we wanted to bring up our kids. It's such a beautiful area, and it's totally safe out there. It really is, but it just didn't tick all the boxes for us, So then we started to look at parts of Europe, and at that time, I was actually selling this incredible blender, right? And it's amazing. It made hot soup and ice cream. I can say the brand. It's called Vitamix, globally renowned brand, and we were buying our fruit and veg for the shows at this specific wholesaler. And, I knew him very well, and we always had a chat about family and life. And I said to him, look, we're moving out of the country. I said, what would you suggest? Just randomly. And he said, there's this coastline in Spain that I go to every single year. Check it out. Not many tourists, really lovely, very quiet, not populated a lot, just beautiful, like community-based, really amazing. I was like, okay, so we Googled it. And we were like, this is perfect. Like, we went on loads of forums. My wife was amazing. She went on all these forums and stuff. And we literally, she was 8 weeks pregnant, I believe. She'll kill me if I've got that wrong. And we literally, we got on a plane, and we had 12 days on this coastline. And we got an Airbnb, and we lived as we would live if we lived here. So we didn't go out for the restaurants, we bought food, and we literally spoke to everybody, John. It was amazing. We spoke to lawyers and solicitors. We went to chiringuitos and spoke to bars on the beaches and spoke to local people, and we went to restaurants and random people on the street, and we drove down streets at nighttime to see what the vibe was, and schools and banks and insurance and cars and everything. And wow. We found a place, and we found this, and we probably did, no word of a lie, I reckon we did 15,000 kilometers. I think we did, we literally just went up and down all these amazing roads in Spain, and dirt tracks and everything, and estate agents, and it was mental. And then we decided on this area, and we're like, yeah, this is for us. And what actually happened is we signed a contract for this house. We were supposed to move. My wife was giving birth in February, right? We signed a contract. This is typical Spain mentality. We signed a contract for February. We went to transfer the money in January, right? So my wife's just about to give birth, right? This is ridiculous. We're about to transfer the deposit and 1 month in advance for this house. And I said, just to confirm, we're moving in and starting in February. So 12 months, February to February. And he went, no. You have to start the contract in January. I was like, no, we signed the contract in February. He said, oh, no, you have to start in January. I said, but we can't. We're not going to live there in January. My wife is giving birth in February, and then we move out straight away. No, it's not happening. I'm tearing it up. We're cancelling the contract. I said, okay. I said, look, I do something for you. I will do a 13-month contract. We'll make it up on the other side. So we're moving in February, and we'll do 13 months. And he went, no, not doing it. Tear it up. So we're now sitting in England with everything packed up, sold, nowhere to live. My wife's about to give birth, And we're like, holy cow, this is fun. What do we do? So again, we went on the internet, you know, the universe was on us, that like literally was looking on us, and we found this property, spoke to the estate agent. I got on a plane the next day. I said, I'll Skype my WhatsApp video. My wife literally pulled up to the gate, and I was like, yeah, this is us. If we can get it, this is us.
Close.
Drove in, did a walkthrough, and it actually ended up being a better place. So it was all done for, I believe in fate and universe, and we were guided for a reason. It was all done for a reason. You know, we were on that journey and that path, and it had to be stressful or whatever it was, complicated, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, we've been in this beautiful town, 20,000 people, 8 years, and it's just life, community, life. It's safe. The kids play outside. We've you know, the food's incredible.
Is it Vélez, Malaga?
Yeah. No, we're in a town called Torrox.
Torrox, okay.
Yeah, which is, everybody knows a town called Nerja. It's got the balcony of Europe. It's a beautiful, picturesque town. Everybody comes here to get married. And we're about 10 minutes down the coast from them. But yeah, we just, honestly, I wake up every morning and I still pinch myself. Honestly, I mean that. It's like, wow, we just really got it right. And everybody, people say to us, even close friends, we've fallen out with people over this, and they say to us, "Oh, you're so lucky, Garry. You get to live there, and you must be by the pool and on the beach every day." I'm like, no, I work my ass off. No, I work my ass off every single day to provide this quality of lifestyle. You know, and it comes with a price. I have to travel. I'm away from my family. You know, and that's what I don't want, but I am, and it is what it is. Oh well, you're so lucky. No. If you want it, just do it. If you want to do it, oh, how can I do it? I've got a job and Well, just make it work. Do it. If you want it, do it. Go out and do it and get it done. And that's what we do. And that's what we, you know, that's what we teach our kids, and that's what we install in them. Anything's possible, and anything. And
a lot of people are thinking about it now, aren't they, Garry? About buying businesses. There's a lot of people at a certain age who have got really good businesses that they can't sell, or they don't really know how to sell. They can't be bothered. And there's people who are thinking maybe the lifestyle in England is not, they're not getting the bang for the buck that they used to. So what would you recommend for people who are, do you feel the lifestyle there is totally different to the UK, or just?
It's worlds apart, John. I mean, it's just, it's.
Is it the sun?
I can't even begin. No, not at all.
It's everything.
It's
going to be everything.
Do you know, because look, like, you know, it's the community, it's the life for us particularly. You know, obviously people do come out for the sun and the sea and all that, and that's beautiful, and that is really incredible, you know. But it's the lifestyle, it's the community. You know, we live in sort of a country area. They call it the campo, right? And when we first arrived, so we have 2 houses around us. The rest is farmland where they grow vegetables and fruit, tomatoes. And when we first arrived, about 5 days later, we had a bag of tomatoes on our gate, and I looked over and opened, tomatoes, that's a bit weird. So I left it and I went back to my wife and I said, "It's a bag of tomatoes on the gate, Tammy. What do we do? Is this a scam?" Ridiculous, right? First thing, you know, England scam, you know, whatever, you know, it's installed, educated into you. Must be a scam. Not touching it, not doing it. You know, they're going to come tomorrow and charge us 20 euros or say you have to sign. I don't know, you know, whatever. It's ridiculous. I look at it now and I just think, my God, ridiculous thoughts. So anyway, so we didn't take it. And about 2 hours later, we get a ding on the doorbell, and there's these 2 old twin farmers. They're twins. And they're our best mates now. They're really lovely. And in Spanish, broken English, because we had no Spanish at that time, they were like, "Why didn't you take the tomatoes?" And we were like, "Do we have, we have to pay for them? You know, necesito pago?" And they were like, no, it's welcome to the neighborhood. We're like, okay, right. So we took them, and now that happens regularly. We give them eggs, they give us tomatoes. We've got a guy next door that grows courgettes, potatoes, and it's really about that. It's just people. I think why people. I tell you why people fail over here. Right, we've had I reckon 15 families, English families, that we've met and really had great relationships with, and after 3 years they've gone back to England. 99% of the time that this has failed is purely down to one thing and one thing only. They come out here and they think it's a holiday. They come out here, and every night they go out for food. They go on the booze. They go out every day with the kids and buy ice cream. They go to every single theme park in one go and every single fun fair, and they do all their money in one go. And after 3 years, they've got no income or not enough income, and that's it. They have to go back to England and the job's done. And that's honestly, or they think they can come over here and open a bar and just sit back and drink in the bar. And we've seen that as well. It's really sad to see. And you say to them, "Come on, guys, wake up! This is not a holiday. You live here. You've got to work.
I mean, John and I have talked a lot on our lives about sustainable living, and we seem to have moved so far away from that everything's so convenient now. We don't grow our own food. We don't look to ways in which we can provide for our families in that way. But it just sounds like you've got this kind of beautiful ecosystem out there. I mean, we talked, Gary, didn't we, before coming on this call? I live in quite a rural area, and I've got a fairly similar setup that every so often I'll get a bag of green beans or some rhubarb left on the front porch, and it's fantastic, and we've grown sort of vegetables in the back garden. But I'd argue we're kind of, obviously you've got the people with allotments, that kind of community and stuff like that, but we seem to have moved away from that community spirit. We've become so disparate in the community that disjointed. Whereas seemingly, and obviously the whole of Spain isn't the same. We've got these little pockets, and where you are, it's going to be rural and that particular way. But I guess what I'm sort of leading to is where you're going with business is trying to create or recreate that ecosystem within what you're doing, isn't it? With a collective, etc. That everybody's looking out for each other, and that's okay. That we're not all so jaundiced in our view of business that we're all out for each other. But actually, we can exist in a community and thrive. But are you still finding there's quite a bit of I guess it's not fear, but it's that expectation that, everybody is out for themselves. You still getting that pessimism.
In business or in my family, in my home life?
In business.
I don't allow it in, James. I don't allow it in. I don't allow it in my life. I just don't. I block it because it's not where I want to be. And actually, my first point of call when I bought the business is to bring collaborators on board in the business. That's the first thing I did, to create this community. And we have some amazing collaborators. One's called Vegpreneur. It's the largest online community in the world of entrepreneurs in the vegan, plastic-free vegetarian community. And we're their official events partner. And that was purely done to, again, open up the doors for these startups, mediums and large businesses to spread the word and the love. We have an amazing staffing agency called MKJ Ignite. They are working with challenger brands as well, and the owner, his name slips my mind. That's awful. I'm so sorry if you're listening. It will come to me. Sorry. He's got that same ethos and around that as well in collaborations, and he's just a beautiful guy. We have a photography company as well that we're collaborating with. Again, they're on the same sort of path as us about collaborations and community spirit. And we have this amazing lady called Sophie Cooper that created this Brands on Tour. So it's basically, she gets the owners and the founders in this incredible Mercedes van and takes them on the tour of their life, on their journey. So where they went to school, their first business, and then eventually we're talking about how they would end up at one of our events where the founder could be like, this is where we are now, and we're a really busy event, and we're sampling and we're selling and So it's definitely, I don't, if I'm totally honest with you, I never feel it in the vegetarian vegan community. I don't feel it at all. When you get out into the FMCG world in its entirety, it's really cutthroat and very, everybody's outdo. And it's so sad. It's really because and that's really also some of the reason why we moved away from that sort of area, because you've got one life. What's the point? I don't get it. I don't understand it. We're all out to do the same thing, right? And that's live and provide for our family. And sort of just enjoy ourselves. And that's what I do every day. I just try to have fun. You know, it doesn't matter how many fires I'm putting out or how stressful it is or how low we are on cash flow or whatever it is, just try to have some fun. Go outside, play with the kids, or, you know, just and try and just. I'm silly as well. I'm really silly. I don't take things too seriously. I try.
Life is too serious, right? I just don't do it. And you know, sometimes you get these brands on board that are all really serious and want all these crazy things and promises, and we just don't. I don't want to engage with them. I don't do it. We're not corporate. We're not a corporate business. We're not corporate. We don't run our business. We're very successful, but we don't run as a corporate business. We don't need to. And I think also that's where people have lost their way as well. Is they're just so fixated on managers and marketing and directors and this and that levels and all these levels and all this process, where actually it's just so simple. You buy something, you sell it, you've got a margin, you do some marketing, you get your brand out there. I know it's not. I know it's not that simple, but really, if you just hone in on what business looks like, it should be fun. It should be simple. We overcomplicate it, don't we? What do you reckon, John? Do you think you know, at the end of the day, we do try and overcomplicate things to justify our position in things? What do you reckon, man?
I think nowadays, maybe, Gary, that probably from what's stuck in my mind from market days is that people would go out, they had some disposable cash, and they would buy stuff that they maybe needed or would be useful. But nowadays, it's because of the volume of things available that, you know, there's so many products that are just, you know, is so noisy. And then what you do is you go out maybe to a high street, you see something, and then you just go and go online and see if you can get it cheaper, and then compare the thing, don't you? So it's like
100%.
It's just like consumerism on steroids. It doesn't feel like, you know, I'm from Clapham, so it was near you in Kingston. So my granddad was always going to I was always around market stalls, but it was for the fruit and veg, and maybe you'll buy some clothes there or something that you needed, totally, or a Christmas present. But now it's infinite amounts of things going on, Gary. How is the online game changing things? Do you think people are going to switch back around to in person?
Do you know, it's such a really good question again, and you know, it's like taking it back to the old school days when like AA first arrived, you know, on the scene, and they would salute every single car, you know, and then obviously as cars got more, obviously you can't do it, and same with the markets, you know, progression does happen. You go to the market, you know, everybody's single name on the market. Hi John, how you doing? Would you like some tomatoes today? How's your wife Tammy? Is she okay? You know, how's the kids that are growing up? And to scale that, you know, with the world, growing population, demand, I'm going to say this, you know, the words skip my mind again. See, there you go. You know, people just want to buy all the time. I am getting on, it's true. It's a throwaway culture, you know. People are getting on.
Like conspicuous consumption, isn't it? It's like
just literally consuming
all the time. Yeah.
And yes, online does play a big part in what we do, huge amounts. But we always go back to the basics. Get in front of your consumer. So, you know, people go, I'll just invest the money on Facebook. Okay, cool, but you can't sample to them. They can't try your product. How do you 360 that? Oh, well, we just send them a sample in the post. Okay, so you're going to now send 50,000 samples out in the post. How do you get their feedback? Oh, they do a video. Well, no, because they're not loyal. They've got a free sample. There's professional onliners that go on just to log into free giveaways and free samples, and you know they're professionals at it. They're not loyal to the brands. They just want the free stuff. And that's again where we take it back to the basics of the shows. You see that person's vision. You see what they're saying. They like the product. They don't like the product. They think it's too expensive. They try the sip of the drink and they go, "Oh my god, that's the best thing I've ever tried in my." Wow. Okay. Where do I buy it? How much is it? What do I need to do? Where do I sign up? You know, and you get that. You know, when we were selling our consumer show products, you know, we would have a very set demonstration. You know, so you educate them about the product, you tell them what it does, how it fits in their lifestyle, how you create amazing meals if it's a food shop or something. So you lead them down this path, and you see their faces, and they're talking to each other like the husband and the wife. The wife's going, "I could use that. That's going to make my life easier." Yeah. John, I need this. This is, you don't get that on the internet, do you? They look at it, they might watch a video and go, and then it's price comparison, isn't it? That's the problem, you know. And then all of a sudden they go, "Oh, I could use it, but can I find it cheaper?" So yeah, the internet's not going anywhere. We know this, of course. It's only going to grow. It's only going to get bigger. It's only going to get bolder, especially with these instant delivery companies on motorbikes going around. And that's a whole nother conversation. And I think that's changing the game again as well. And we just have to be very careful and clever how we build that out. And I think it's all good stuff. I think it is, but we have to always go back and look back to the basics. You know, we always have to keep that basic interaction, that face-to-face really doing.
How do you incentivize consumers to come along, Garry? Because I know, a lot of exhibitions, they got free entry. You don't have to pay to get in. But, how do you actually get people in through the door? So obviously exhibitors are there. They're paying good money. They want to have a lot of people coming in through the door. Yeah. So how do you incentivize
so this is the
punters to come in?
Yeah. Well, we don't. We have existing shows already that are like hundreds of years old. So, for example, you look at the Royal Yorkshire Show, the Royal Bath and West, Crufts, BBC Good Food Show, Idle Home Show. These are heritage shows that have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people walking through those doors. So we don't have to worry about consumers. I can guarantee you, every show you go to, it will be absolutely rammed, absolutely full of people. The only then job we have to do is to convert. And that's what we're good at. We know how to convert. I've been doing it all my life. SPP events have been doing it for 35 years, huge retention rate. So we all this knowledge that we have, and then all these consumers, and never a concern for us, which is, we don't run our own events. We run events within events, which is, it's the dream.
Yeah,
that is good. Yeah, because people that go to these, they are amazing. I've got the XL pretty much around the corner from me, so it's like there's always great exhibition shows on. So there is a bit of a buzz, isn't it? People are looking for that connection. They're looking to get outside. And if they're looking to buy something, it might be an impulse buy, but it might be something that they've seen around and they want to speak to people in person. It can be super powerful, can't it?
Absolutely. I mean, well over half, I'd say 70% of people actively go to exhibitions to buy something. They go there to buy. The other 30% are the people that are going there for a day out with the family, which is totally fine. But then you look at that 30%, and that 30%, a very high proportion, and I don't know the exact figures on that, but will be converted to buy something. They will, a very high percentage, because when you've paid to get in a show, you're there for the experience and the joy and the environment and everything else as well. And if you're demonstrated to really lovely, or you see something that can add value to your life, or a change or a swap, of course you can invest in it. Or you get a free sample, you take it home, and then you're guided on a journey, or whatever that might look like, merchandise. Of course you're going to buy it. Of course you are. So it's so powerful. Shows are consumed. And also we get from brands, some brands that come to us, we've tried consumer shows that they were flop, they don't work, there's no ROI. Okay, let's rewind. Show me what stand you had, how big was your stand, what were your staff doing, show me the activation. And 99.9% of the time, the stand's too big, it's in the wrong location, they've got 1 million staff on the stand, and the 1 million staff are their own staff. So when you look at that overall ROI, they're taking the staff out their own business. Those now for 5 days or however long it took them to prepare for it, they can't concentrate on building their own brand. It just makes no sense. Why would they do that? Why would they take their own resources out of that brand? And then you look at their display, and I'm sorry, it's awful. You just go, well.
On that note, Garry, do you provide them with like a blueprint of what to do? So they get there on the day, it's like what they need, all the equipment they're going to need.
100%.
The setup, the approach, all that, the follow up afterwards. Is that a kind of a blueprint that you provide?
100%. So we can do A to Z. So we can literally buy the space, build a stand, design the stand, store the stand, deliver it, take it down, drive it back, store it, provide the staff. So basically write the theme tune, sing the theme tune. We can do everything, right? If they come to us and they say, we've got this really cool stand, we've got a marquee, we want to be outside, which, a lot of our existing clients do, we then purchase the space for them. They put their own stand on there, and then we provide them electric. But so that before they turn up, they would have a whole checklist. You've got this, and this, or we provide this, and this. And it's literally just taking all that effort and energy away. I exactly the same conversation. I can't mention the brand, but exactly the same conversation before this call on LinkedIn with a brand, and I've been reaching out to them for ages, and they're always no, we're not interested. And all of a sudden, the guy come back to me, and he said, we're doing a show next week. I can't mention the show. And I said, why? It's an awful show. I said, you're going to invest so much money and you're going to get nothing back from it. Why didn't you talk to me first? Oh, well, all the team have been concentrating on this for months. We've had no bandwidth to do anything else. I said, right. So let me go back to my original email I sent you. We do everything for you. Why are you taking your team out to run activations when they should be concentrating on building your brand, getting you retail listings, building out the products? You know, why are they doing that? Oh, right. Yeah, okay. You've piqued my interest now. Right. Now we can have an engaging conversation. Okay. Now we can look at a plan and activation. We can come up with something really creative. We can put budgets together. So it's always that constant backwards and forwards just to make them, you know, consumer shows are out there and they are extremely successful, but you've got to have that knowledge and that understanding. And that takes time and money and experience. And, you know, David has built these relationships for 35 years with these organizers. Yeah. And I think at 10 of the shows, we actually have our own buildings. I think it's 10, it might be 8, but we have our own buildings. So we have 45 stands in our own buildings at these massive Royal Cornwall. We have our own building. It's a huge shed and it's only for us, only for SVP events. And these are and no one gets that. And these are the type of relationships we build, you know, and that's what we built. And that's what, you know, that's what I've inherited in this incredible business. It's mind-blowing.
So just on that point then, I'm going to ask you about the challenges that you have. So is it an education piece? Is it that people just don't know? They think that all exhibitions are created equal. They don't have the depth and level of understanding that you do. You've been in the business a long time. Is that one of the issues? And if that is one, what are other ones that you're facing?
I think it's always, I think the main challenge always is around budget. Garry, give me some costs. You know, and that's always the first hurdle, which is of course understandable. They want to know how much this is going to cost them. They've got a marketing budget, or they might not have a marketing budget. But you know, that's the thing that we need to educate them on and make them understand that it's not as easy as just going, oh yeah, you can have any show you like, and it's £1,000. It doesn't work like that. You know, it's size and electric cost. If they have freezers overnight, you know, if they have a frozen product and they have to have 24-hour power, you know, that could be, you know, a few €100 or a few £100 just on its own, just for power, you know. And some and also the other thing is indoor shows are more expensive than outdoor shows. So where electric might be 400 at one show, it might be 200 at the other. Now we don't earn any money on those electric costs, but it is a cost. You know, they are all hard costs. So that's number one. And then number two is just making them really understand that consumer shows are really good. They are good at what they do. We have a proven track record. We're not just a random activation sampling company. We've got a business that's been built on trust and results, and all our companies, as said, have results out of every single show. And then after that, actually there's nothing really that's really difficult. It's actually then a pleasure, because then you start getting into the beautiful creative side, and this is where we shine. You know, we then we look at the brand and we come away from the brand and we look at, okay, what can we do that's really fun? For example, can't mention the brand, but we're talking to a really cool vegan alcoholic brand, right? And they put a mushroom extract in their brand as well. And they have a really cool car. And I said to them, wouldn't it be cool to put in hydraulics on the wheels, make the car jump up and down at the show, but you have to sit in the car with one of their drinks and not spill it. And if you don't spill the drink, you then win a prize or a lifetime supply or blah, 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 blah. That would go viral. At every single show, someone videoing their friend in a car, bouncing up and down, trying to stop the drink from going everywhere, would go viral. And this is what we try and create. We try and create these moments in life where you just go, I've got a video that I put it on YouTube. I've got to share it with my friends. It's not, again, going back to it, it's not just, again, people going, here's a free sample, welcome, hello, would you like to try this? It's vegan. Well, if you do that, I've got literally 5 seconds, haven't I? How can I say anything about the brand in 5 seconds? It's impossible. How can I educate them about the journey, the sustainability, the product, the ingredients, the everything? It's pointless, you know. It's really, so that journey after that is beautiful. It's so cool, because we're going backwards and forwards. And they're going, okay, that's not on brand. That's on brand. We like this. Let's make that bigger. Let's make that, you know. So that's the cool part. So
I think the experiences are going to be the way forwards. I think people are going to get very tired of, they're not going to get tired of online, but they're going to want some type of experience that they go to, like they experience the brand, like the Apple shops, you know, you go in there,
it's
it's
that
like
third dimension, fourth dimension.
it's a real
100%.
experience, isn't it, into technology
Yeah.
and the spatial thing and the way it looks. And then you
You-
see
and
other
you,
ones, high street ones, that are just, you know, the people don't want to be there, they're getting paid minimum wage in some of these big retail stores, and it's just,
yeah. Yeah,
it's not that engaging.
no engaging, and you walk in, and I'm so pleased you brought up Apple. When you walk into an Apple store, you feel honoured to be in the store. How do they create that? You walk in an Apple store, and you're like, oh, this is. I should put a shirt on. Should I be in here? And then you don't get like a normal staff member come up. They're called a technology geek or something, aren't they? Or they're given
Apple something, isn't it?
a really cool name, and you're like,
And Genius Bars.
Genius Bars, that's it. Well, they must know what they're talking about. It's a genius bar. It's so clever, and this is what we're trying to create within our shows. Or we are creating within our shows. It's just it's that whole beautiful experience,
And that's the thing that lasts long in the memory, Gary, isn't it? It's like how it made you feel. It's like, okay, you spent your money, you came away. You're either going to come away feeling like, okay, I might have got something out of it, but I'm not entirely like racing to get back, or they come away going, well, that was a fantastic experience. I mean, holy shit. Like everything just seemed like this was completely breathtaking. So it is that user experience, isn't it? You really want them to come away thinking that was incredibly worthwhile. I feel now upbeat, buoyant, energized because I was in that space at that time.
When I used to watch my demonstrators back in the day, when we used to have the demonstration company, I always used to stand like quietly by the side of the stand or at the back, and you used to hear the whispers when they walk away. I only bought that because the demonstration was amazing. I got that because that demonstrator was incredible.
Yeah.
Wow, he was so informative, and then you know they're winning. Then you know the demonstrators are trained perfectly. They're ready. You know, when we're training new demonstrators, there's certain key factors we have to tick. But when you hear those words, you're like, okay, yep, done. Wow, he could sell sand to the Arab. Ice to the Eskimos, or whatever. All those kitsch phrases. And you think, okay, yep, those guys, and that's that knowledge and experience that I and my company have got from that. That's what we're bringing into this new era of the shows and SBB events, and that, like you said, that whole experience. That you feel honoured to be in it. Wow, I've been really taken on this amazing journey, and I love the brand as well.
Yeah, and is that something you can really get across to the consumer as well? Is that something that's quite easy to translate? I mean, just that in its essence, in a nutshell, of exactly that thing you've just said, that experience, is that easy to get across, or does that take a bit of work?
Well, for us, it's easy, of course. For someone that doesn't know how to do it, no. I mean, it's not. It's a skill. It's a skill set, and it's actually a dying skill set. The amount of demonstrators on consumer shows right now is lower. Is dwindling. It really is. It's not done anymore. So I'm again. We want to keep that alive. I want to keep that heritage alive, and I think what you also mean is it easy to implement? And again, yes, for us it is easy to implement because we know the points, we know the psychology behind people and what they activate to and how they think along that journey. So like the journey of the roller coaster, that's cleverly done in a way that when you come out that roller coaster, you're on a high, you're buzzing, you've got your kids with you, you're going to buy a picture, of course you are. Or you go to a local fun fair and then they've got the kiosk and then they've got the photo studio, of course you're going to buy, you are, because you're there and you've been on that, you've had a really great experience and you're buzzing and everybody's friendly and you bought a candy floss or whatever, whatever you've done. So it's all come from this amazing heritage and this journey that I've been on throughout my life. And it's, again, the universe has just guided me and I've just landed where I need to be. And that's the truth of the matter.
And where can people find you, Gary? Where's the best place to find out about the SBP event and what you're doing?
Unfortunately, I've inherited a website and I'm not happy with it. I'm sorry, David, if you're listening, but it's not nice. And we are working on getting it reframed and redone, and it's just a part of the system. But you can find us at SB for Bertie, P for Peter, Events Limited, ltd.co.uk. That's our website. You can find me on LinkedIn, Garry Robey. One thing I do as well, and it's a really strict policy of mine and all our staff, we reply to every single email, every single WhatsApp, every single message. We don't ignore anybody. We don't block anybody. There's no name policy rubbish within our company. We talk to everyone, small, startup, zero cash to multi-million-pound company. We don't care who you are. We'll give you the time of the day and we'll talk to you. And that's really, really important as well. And something actually I wanted to cover because there's so much no-name policy rubbish out there right now, and I just don't get it. It just doesn't make sense. Doesn't and also I've heard this new term. I've never known it. Ghosting. Like, what's that all about? Like, where they don't email you back, or just say no. Just say no, thank you, not interested. Just email someone back and say no, or it's not the right time for us, or we'll come back to you in 6 months, or no, not interested. And that's one thing all our team do is we religiously reply to everything. And yes, it takes longer, and yes, it's more hours, but we don't ignore anybody. We take everybody seriously, again, from zero to hero, wherever you are in the journey. And we reply to every message. So LinkedIn. I share my number, email address, whatever. You can go on sbpeventsltd.co.uk, Garry Robey on LinkedIn. Yeah.
Cool. Look forward to seeing your growth there, Garry. Looks like an exciting venture. So
yeah. I think in 6 months you'll see a whole new business and a whole new area of
6 months you'll be like me, mate. All the hair's gone, and
No, I can't. This is the thing that sells it. I can't. My hair's my seller, man.
It's going nowhere. It's going nowhere.
I don't think it is. I think we'll be all right. My father inherited. Actually, I thought I was going to inherit because my father lost his hair quite young. But my wife makes this magic hair potion, this oil that I put in my hair once a week, and I started to go. Yeah, really. I started to go thin when I was like 26, 28, and she made this magic potion for me, and I have the thickest hair. Like it's just it works really well. I'll share it with you. I'll show you
share that one over.
I think I'm past that point.
Too late.
I think that would be.
Give it a go.
Maybe the beard and the eyebrows need a bit, but everything else I think is pretty.
Or you could comb it round me.
Oh yeah, big old comb over.
It works, isn't it? It works. Yeah, great to have you on, Garry, and we wish you the best of luck with everything.
Been a pleasure.
Thank you. I'm so honoured to be on here, and thank you so much for your time. I really, honestly, things like this for us is just so important. We're really not in it for the fame, but this exposure is so beautiful for us. So thank you. Really,
it's telling the story, right? It's just
telling the story. That's it. Absolutely. Thanks very much.
Right. We'll see you on the other side. Right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks very much. Take care. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye. Bye.